What's up guys, so I thought it was time to revisit the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra in this mid-2024. I get a lot of questions about this phone. It's probably one of the most popular phones on the channel here. So around like 7 months ago, the Note was at like $398 for a used refurbished version, but now this phone has come down in price to around $317 for an excellent version on Amazon, and then you can get a good version for $286. So that is pretty much the price drop that we were looking for. So a lot of people have, were asking what price point should I buy it at. Try to aim for now this $300 price point, guys. So the number one reason a lot of people really want the Note 20 Ultra and really prefer it is because of the SD card support. So say for instance, this is a 128 gigabyte Note 20. If you go on Amazon, you can get a 512 gigabyte card for $40 here. So you can add quite a bit of storage for those who are really serious about storage and you don't like to put stuff in the cloud and stuff like that. That's why a lot of people like this phone. Hardware wise, this is still a pretty good looking phone in 2024. I think it still has a very classy design. Obviously, I think the worst thing about this design is that it just picks up a ton of fingerprints, especially in this color. But besides that, I think it still looks really cool. It does have a really nice, clean look to it. Now the S Pen still works really well. It's still very accurate as well too. If you're a digital, content creator or something like that, it's Bluetooth, so you can take pictures and videos from a distance as well, which is really nice. And then also is extremely accurate when it comes to drawing, taking notes, even if you're somebody who really just prefers to, navigate with the pen itself, the OS. It just does an excellent job. Samsung really does this extremely well. Then you have a bunch of software also baked into here to take advantage of the pen as well. This is a very big and boxy phone, so just do note that if you have smaller hands, it could kind of strain your hand a little bit because it is so wide, and then it also cuts into the palm a little bit. But besides that, it's a really nice piece of hardware. It's IP68 dust and water resistant as well too. Next, I want to talk about the display. So this is a massive panel. It's a 6.9 inch display. It's a 1440p panel, and it's a dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz HDR10 plus, and then it is also 1440p, 496 for the PPI. Now the only thing about the Note's display here is that you can't use the 1440p resolution at 120 Hz. You can only use it at 1080p 120 Hz, but the display still looks very good. It's a very colorful display, and like I said, it's kind of unique that it has a 6.9 inch display because Samsung has never went back to this. The S21, 22, 23, those all have smaller displays than this. So yeah, so this is definitely still a fantastic display besides not being able to run it at the full resolution. But yeah, it has pretty good outdoor viewing as well too, which is really good. So overall, I don't have really too many issues with the Note's display here. Also, I forgot to mention that one thing that you may or may not like is this is a curved panel. Samsung has completely gotten away from this now with the newest S24 Ultra, but I still think it looks good. It gives the phone a very premium feel, but a lot of people say it's hard to put screen protectors on here and stuff like that. But overall, I do really like the display. The Note is still an excellent phone when it comes to gaming performance. It can still play PUBG at 90 frames, and it plays Call of Duty really smoothly as well too. And I'll show you guys the best settings. So overall, it does a really good job in terms of performance with gaming. I don't really have overheating problems. Now I know that some people will have the Exynos version. I can't really get my hands on the Exynos version here in the US, but I can tell you that the Snapdragon version works really well. I have never really had a performance here. You have a base storage of 128 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM. So the phone is really fast when it comes to gaming, multitasking. It really does not feel like it's slow by any means. As far as software, this phone got its last majorOS update with Android. Now, as far as software, this phone got its last majorOS update with Android 13 One UI 5.1. So it still feels pretty modern still in 2024. It pretty much has everything that something like the S24 Ultra would have, minus the Galaxy AI features. But you can still run everything on here, good luck, pretty much whatever you want. So as far as the OS goes, you're not really missing out on too much. Now this phone, it is still currently getting security patches right now, which is a good thing for those that are curious. The speaker quality on the Note still sounds pretty good. So I think the speakers still have, a good amount of bass. They sound really clean as well too. So when you're watching movies, whatever, the speakers do sound pretty good and they're pretty loud. Also, the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor does work on here really well, so that's no problem. Alright, so as far as the cameras on the Note, you do have some really good cameras on here, I think, still for 2024. So you do have a 108 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel periscope telephoto. It does do 5 times optical zoom, and then you have a 50 times hybrid zoom on here as well too. And then you also do have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 8K 24 for the video, and then you also have a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. I think the photos still look pretty good on the Note. Yes, the newer phones are definitely going to do better in low light, but if this phone in any good lighting conditions still gives you a pretty good shot. Video is also pretty solid on this device as well too. So I can't really complain about the photos and videos for this price. Like I said, in good lighting, this still takes great shots. The ultra wide's pretty consistent. Colors are pretty nice on here, nice and vibrant as well too. Yeah, so I don't really have too many issues. I think the biggest difference you'll notice on the newer, Samsung phones is that something like the S22 Ultra, S23, those have, much better zoom photography. But if we're just talking about straight up stills, then yeah, this is still going to do great in good lighting. But like I said, if you take it out of low light, selfies, pretty much anything, you will lose quite a bit of detail. Alright, so let's talk about battery life on this phone. So the Note 20 Ultra has pretty decent battery life. I don't think it's anything too crazy. It wasn't really all that crazy when it first came out as well. But yeah, it's a decent battery at 4,500 milliamps. It's also 25 watt charging. And then you also have wireless and reverse wireless charging. You can kind of get through the day with this phone if you are a lighter user, which means you're not gaming a lot. But if you are gaming a lot, then you can definitely expect the batteries to drain. But overall, I haven't really had too many complaints with this phone. I think it's still a solid option for anybody who really needs the SD card support. If you don't need the SD card support, I would say get the S21 Ultra. But this phone, it still has a lot of unique stuff about it. Like, again, the SD card. You also have a massive display on here as well too. So it's a phone that I really like. The software doesn't really feel that much outdated. It's still getting security patches for right now. So yeah, so overall, I do really like the Note 20 Ultra. What do you guys think? Would you guys buy one of these? Do you guys have one? What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.